As usual, I try to make it as short as possible, but give you as much information at the same time. So hopefully you have a little bit of time for me today. Thank you for being here. We are talking today about batching our time in order to create urgency. And it may be a little weird for those of you who don't have any ADHD tendencies, may not realize that when you do have ADHD tendencies, you um, let things go to the last minute. There has to be like a real sense of urgency or real interest in what you're doing for it to hold your attention and really get things done. And I think as a business owner, it's really important once you recognize that you have this that this is just going to be the way your life is, that you work with it, that you embrace it. So that is how I have chosen to deal with the fact that I'm noticing these tendencies that are ADHD related, that I never knew weren't like neurotypical or normal for other people. And one of the ways that to deal with that is by time batching and creating that urgency. Prior to realizing that this is what's going on for me, I would really get so frustrated with myself. You guys know I do a lot of live events for you, a lot of free things, and I would always find myself what I would describe as waiting to the last minute to write. It just felt more comfortable for me to, and I felt really empowered to sit down like a couple hours before I was going to talk to you and really get all my thoughts out onto the paper and organize things how I wanted to speak to you. But there was this guilt associated with it because we're often told that we should be doing things differently in business, especially, I think most of us have bought like a gazillion um, calendars. I know I have. I'm trying to be a lot better at writing in them and actually using them to keep track of what's going on. But when you're told that you're supposed to plan the year out or, you know, plan what you're going to say a week in advance, for me, it just felt weird to do that. In fact, I remember as far back as high school when they would say, "What do you want to do with the next 5 years?" That was like so big. I could not even right now. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. I'm definitely not doing what I would have guessed I was doing 5 years ago now. So to me, that's just like not even a reality. It's not something that I want to even consider. So time batching, what is that? Okay, so as opposed to trying to multitask and do everything in the business, which is one of the things that my brain wants me to do. It wants to do everything all at once. So what ends up happening if I'm not time matching is I don't know what to do. This idea, and like all of these things are swirling, and I feel like I end up maybe doing things that seem like I'm busy, but not actually getting stuff done. So what time batching is, it actually takes the tasks that you need to get done in your business and make sure that you're doing those by putting a time limit on it and also scheduling it in your schedule so that it is not an unknown. You're not wondering what you should be doing. You know you're going to do that. So for me, what that's looked like over the last few weeks is that I'm up at 8 o'clock in the morning writing until about 9:15, making sure I have everything ready to go. Then I get myself ready at 9:30, and I am on my group coaching call at 10 o'clock, talking to them about everything that I have put together for them that morning. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not working throughout the week, because I am. I'm off. If I know that I have something coming up, I'm planning it. So when I sit down to write, I actually know a lot of what I'm going to say. I pretty much have it all kind of planned out in my mind, but there has to be that urgency to actually getting it done. So for me, my time block where I'm writing is that 8 o'clock to 9:15. And then what I've started doing, realizing that the blocking was really helping, is to realize, okay, instead of, you know, welcoming new members throughout the week, instead of doing these tasks that I had spread out, I'm going to do them on Friday, because Friday just feels good for me. It's the end of the week. I've got my group coaching calls that I'm coming off of, which is super exciting and fun. I'm doing this call with you guys. So those kind of things really motivate me and make me feel like I'm in that zone that you want to be in when you're working really hard. And so that is why you're going to see more things that I'm doing on Fridays, because it's just a good day for me to do things like that. But for time batching, you're going to just make a list of all of the things that you need to get done, and you're going to do whatever works for you to create that urgency. So some of you may be better off in the morning working, maybe the afternoon, maybe the evening. I've been finding myself, um, particularly since COVID hit and everyone's around, working a lot in the evening, but it's just not the best for me. I don't enjoy it, and it's just not what I want to do. So I'm trying to work away from doing that. And also, as an entrepreneur, you work a lot on the weekends. I'm trying to work out of that too. And the time batching does help, because what you're gonna do, you're not just putting that time aside. You're putting that time aside to do one thing. So you're only writing in that time, or you're only answering emails, or you're only working on this type of client work in those batch times. And what that does, it makes you more productive, because you are not having to break away from something to do something else. So for me, if I'm doing some bookkeeping for people, what I'll do, I know I'll take the group that has payroll as part of their core of their business, and I'll go in and I will record everyone's payroll information. And again, that helps you. You're staying on task because you know that you have that set amount of time that you put away to do this, but also you are in the kind of excitement of doing that one thing and getting it done. This is done. This is done. This is done. That kind of excitement really helps. And I'm not trying to be in one person's account where I'm doing the accounting process from beginning to end, because sometimes partway through, or usually near the end, and I've seen a lot of the ADHD groups talk about this, at near the end of the project, when almost done, I just feel like not doing it anymore. It's just a weird thing. But when I batch things together, like I'm going to go in at the beginning of the month and I'm going to add all of the expenses that are in the online banking, but I'll do that for everybody. So I'll start with one account and then I'll move through all the accounts, and it just makes it flow a little bit better. So if you have something that you need to work on, that you can pull a piece out of it and just work on that one piece, but give it that time limit so that there's the urgency that you actually get it done. I'm finding that is really what is working amazing for me. The other thing I want to pop over to my other screen real quick, because I want to show you that we can do. Let's share this. And if you are on your phone, you may have to look at this later when you can actually see it, because I know it makes it hard. But here's just a Google Calendar, and I just created a category here that says time blocking. And I wanted to show you this because you literally can just go into your Google Calendar and create that time that you are going to set aside. So for me, let's see, what date is it? So let's go to this date here, and we're going to be right group. That's the time I'm actually going to sit down and write the group lesson for that thing. And then it's not going to be all day. You want to make sure you assign the time to it. So again, you want that urgency. It also helps me get out of bed, so I'm not like sitting there scrolling on my phone, because this morning I knew that I needed to be down here writing at 8 o'clock so that I could hit that the time frame that I set aside for myself to be done. And again, it just makes it feel so much better for me when I have that time frame in mind, because then I'm like, okay, this is it and this is done. And then it also gives you an ending point, because when that time is up, that's it. You're done. There's nothing more that for you to do at that point. So I'm going to put that in there, and then you can choose the color that you want it to be. So you can choose different colors for different types of tasks. And then I'm going to save that. So I know that when I come in here, I've got that section of time blocked off to do that. Now, I can do this other part one of two ways. So you can just use this as a private calendar to keep yourself on track. Maybe you're like, what was I supposed to do today? You can pop in here and just go, oh yeah, I have that time blocked off to do the writing that I wanted to do for this week. Or you can actually add this if you're using Acuity or any of the calendar programs. You can add it to your calendar so that that time that you blocked off actually shows up as time that you cannot have any other appointment. So it depends on how you work. That might work out really well for you. You just need to make sure that this button here says busy instead of free. If it says free, then it's not going to block off any time for people to not make appointments. It's going to let them make an appointment at the time. But if you click busy and you have that link to your other calendars, it's going to not let anyone even schedule during that time. It's probably the best way to do this, because then you won't end up getting interrupted with meetings and different things. You don't want to have yourself feeling like you're pulled in a million different directions. I know that this has really helped me to fine tune what I'm doing and to accept that this is just the process that I use. And now I don't feel that stress of, hey, what I should be doing. I should be writing out the whole month in advance and all this stuff. No, do what works for you. Time block so that you get it done and that you have that urgency to do it. So I hope you guys have something really fun coming up this weekend. We don't yet, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. So take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day.